You ever have one of those moments where life corners you, pushes you down, and everyone expects you to just smile and accept it even when you know you're not the one who should be apologizing? Well, that's exactly where my story begins. Imagine being blamed for something you didn't do. And the only person who could clear your name is the same person trying to tear your family apart. My name is Henry Walker, and I'm 66 years old. I've always lived quietly, never one to raise my voice or insert myself into drama. My late wife used to say I had the patience of a monk and the heart of a firefighter, calm until you threaten the things I love. And nothing in this world matters to me more than my son, Michael. But as you're about to hear, loving your child doesn't always protect you from betrayal. Sometimes it leads you straight into it. My son's wife, Amanda, had always been polite on the surface. But underneath? She watched me the way someone watches a ticking bomb, always ready to blame me for anything that spoiled her perfect picture. She was one of those people who cared more about appearances than sincerity. A spotless home, a carefully curated Instagram life, a marriage that looked flawless to outsiders, even if it was cracking from the inside. And she hated that my presence didn't fit into her polished image. A retired widower who liked old boots, truck stop coffee, and telling the truth, yeah. I wasn't her ideal accessory. The tension started small. Comments about my outdated manners, remarks about old people taking up space or passive-aggressive, jokes about how I needed to stop relying on Michael so much, despite the fact that I lived independently, paid my own bills, and asked nothing of them except the occasional Sunday dinner. But I let it slide. For my son. For my grandkids. For peace. Until 3 months ago. That day, Amanda claimed I'd insulted her cooking said. I called her meals bland and said she couldn't cook like my late wife. Let me be very clear, I said no such thing. In fact, I told her the exact opposite. I complimented her steak and even asked for the recipe. But somehow, she flipped the entire narrative and ran straight to Michael in tears, accusing me of humiliating her. Michael showed up at my home furious, saying he wouldn't tolerate disrespect toward his wife. I tried explaining, but he cut me off. The man I raised kind, patient, reasonable was gone. In his place stood someone who believed every word his wife said without question. I felt like I was losing my son inch by inch. And then came last Saturday. The day everything cracked wide open, Michael called, telling me he and Amanda were coming over and that I needed to make things right. I asked, make what right? But he wouldn't explain. Just kept repeating that I needed to apologize to Amanda if I wanted a relationship with them. I felt my chest tighten. I'm not an arrogant man. If I'm wrong, I'm the first to admit it. But I cannot apologize for something I did not do. Still, I told myself I'd hear them out. They arrived stiff and cold, the kind of cold that makes the air thick with something unspoken. Amanda sat like a queen holding court, chin lifted, waiting for her moment. Michael crossed his arms, jaw tight, clearly expecting me to bow. Dad, he said, you owe Amanda an apology. I folded my hands, staying calm. For what exactly? Amanda leaned forward with rehearsed confidence. For telling your neighbor that I stole money from you? Do you know how humiliating that was for me? How dare you spread lies about me? I blinked, stunned. This was new, Amanda. I never said anything like that. Yes, you did, she snapped. You told Mrs. Carlson we were taking your money. I almost laughed from shock. Amanda, I've never even spoken to Mrs. Carlson about you. I said you and Michael manage your finances well. That's it. She scoffed, shaking her head dramatically. Michael placed a hand on her shoulder as if comforting a victim. Dad, Mrs. Carlson told us what you said. Why would she lie? That's when the pieces clicked. I had spoken to Mrs. Carlson recently. She told me Amanda had asked her if I had mentioned anything about giving money to younger people, specifically her and Michael. I found it strange at the time, like she was fishing for information. And suddenly I understood this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a setup. Amanda wanted to paint me as the problem so she could manipulate my son further. Maybe she wanted me out of the picture. Maybe she wanted control of future inheritance. Maybe both. But here's the thing, Amanda wasn't as clever as she thought, because 3 weeks earlier I had discovered something. Something she never expected me to know. One morning, I received a letter from my bank confirming that someone had attempted to access my account online using an incorrect social security number. I had my account protected with alerts, so I called the bank. They checked the metadata and told me the attempted login came from, get this, my son's house. My heart had dropped. I didn't want to accuse anyone. But I also knew there was only one person in that house calculating enough to try something like that. Especially after months of hinting about family money, financial planning, and how older folks should let the next generation handle things. I didn't tell anyone. I kept it quiet, hoping maybe it was an innocent mistake. But now, watching Amanda put on her performance in front of my son, I knew exactly what she was doing. And I'd had enough. I took a deep breath and looked at my son first, not her. Michael, I said softly, before this goes any further, I need you to hear something. 3 weeks ago, someone tried to access my bank account from your home. The bank confirmed it. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to believe what it meant. Amanda shifted uncomfortably. I continued, now I'm being accused of things I didn't say, blamed for things I didn't do. And I can't help but wonder, why would someone want me to look unstable? Or dishonest? Unless they were planning something they didn't want me around for. Amanda's face drained of color. Michael looked confused, then alarmed. Dad, what are you saying? I finally turned to Amanda. I'm saying that I know someone tried to get into my finances, and that person was in your house. Maybe it wasn't you? I paused. Or maybe it was exactly you. Amanda's lips trembled. She tried to speak, that's ridiculous, why would I? But for the first time, Michael interrupted her. Amanda, did you try to access my dad's account? His voice cracked. She froze. Dead silent. And in that silence, the truth screamed louder than any confession. I didn't gloat. I didn't raise my voice. I simply said, Michael, you wanted me to apologize. But the truth is, I've spent months trying to keep this family together while lies were being told about me behind my back. Michael slowly turned toward me, eyes filling with shame. Dad, I'm so sorry. Amanda started stammering excuses, something about just checking something, a misunderstanding, trying to help, but Michael held up a hand. He was shaking. Amanda, stop. She burst into tears, but this time they weren't performance tears. These were panicked, guilty, cornered tears. Michael asked her to leave the room. She stormed out, slamming the door. And then my son, my grown son, sat down beside me and cried like he did when he was little. Dad, I should have trusted you. I put a hand on his shoulder. I know you love your wife. I understand. But love doesn't mean letting someone manipulate you. We talked for a long time, honestly. Painfully, Amanda stayed in the hallway, listening. She didn't come back inside the room. And Michael didn't ask her to. I didn't ask for an apology. I didn't need one. The truth was enough. But my son apologized anyway, again and again. Finally, he said something that broke me. Dad, you don't ever have to apologize to her again. And for the first time in a long time, I felt the weight lift off my chest. Because he finally saw the truth without me having to say sorry for a lie someone else created.